What's up everyone, this is Moritz from Wolkify.com. Today I want to talk a little bit about goal setting. Now what I realized is that a lot of people have a lot of different goals in different areas of their lives. They want to, be successful in their career, but they also want to have a lot of free time. They love to go on vacation, but they want to have a job that they're really passionate about and that they're really dedicated to. At the same time, of course, they want to grow a family, they want to have time for their kids, they want to go to the baseball matches. But then again, they want to have time to read books at home. They also want to have time to hang out with their buddies. They like to go for a drink with their friends on the weekends, but then they want to get up early in the morning and go for a run. They want to be passionate in their marriage and with their wife, but at the same time they love to hang out with maybe other people from a different sex and love to flirt a little bit and just have fun that way, be single from time to time. They miss the single life when they're married and they miss the married life when they're single. So let me illustrate what this looks like. So a lot of people have goals and they go into very different directions. And some of them might be small goals, some of them might be more important, bigger goals. So they're gonna get a long arrow. Then you have a goal going completely in the different direction. You got another small goal here, like getting up earlier every day to go on like a 30-minute run before you go to work, or maybe meditate for 20 minutes before you go to work. Then you have a goal like that you want to go out in the evening, very detrimental to getting up early. So what you can see here, I hope you can see it. The pen is not the best. But what you can hopefully see is different goals, different sizes of the arrows for the different kind of goals and how big they are, how long it will take to achieve them. And what you can see is that all these arrows are going into completely different directions. So you have all these different goals, but they are not aligned. They are not pointing to one major important role that you're trying to reach with everything that you have and that you put every energy and every second that you have, that you're awake, into. Now, let me wipe that off and let's talk a little bit more about goal setting and how ideally it should look like. If you have really outstandingly big goals, if you really want to reach something that is considered outstanding, that is above the average of what normal people achieve in their lives, if you want to have that above average life, if you want to accomplish these above average goals, then you also need to do something differently than the average person. So let's crack right into that. What I want to introduce to you is the idea of top level, mid level, and low level goals. So you start with the top level goal. Can you see that? I think I did it too high. One sec. So, once again. Still too high. There we go. We got the top level goal here. Right on top. Now this is the goal that you try to reach. This is everything you're thinking about. This is everything you put your energy and your time and your money into. Nothing else matters to you if you have that one top level goal. It might be to run your own successful company and maybe get up to, let's say, $1 million in revenue per year. Or you want to write that book, or you want to run a marathon. This can be a top level goal. It's called top level goal because it is usually one single goal, at least one single goal for every area of your life, and maybe even just one single goal in general that you care about. If you have more than one top level goal, they might already interfere with one another. So be very careful with choosing your top level goals, because every other goal will be directed towards that top level goal. So then you have a couple of mid-level goals. These mid-level goals, gonna write it right here. Mid-level goals are goals that are not taking as long to accomplish as the top level goal, but they're still quite hard to get there. So, for example, if you want to run a marathon, let's say under 3 hours, you need a lot of training, you need a lot of physical fitness. So one mid-level goal could be to lose all the additional weight that you put on over Christmas or whatever. So it could be to lose 10 kilos. 10 kilos losing is not that easy. It can be done. It's definitely not impossible, but you have to work a little bit for it. You have to make some sacrifices. You have to really commit to it, and it will definitely help you to get to that top level goal, but it's not the top level goal itself. You should never lose sight of the top level goal. Instead, you should be aware of what your top level goal is, and then create mid-level goals that are aligned with that top level goal. So for example, that could be losing 10 kilos, eating very healthy and cut out all the fast food and all the junk food, and also go running 4 times a week. All of these goals are aligned towards that top level goal that you have, but they're quite hard to reach in and of itself. So let's go even further than that. From those mid-level goals, you have different... Alright, this is getting a little messy here. You have a few low-level goals. Alright. You get the idea. All of these low-level goals are easy to accomplish. They don't take a lot of sacrifice. You still gotta do them, and it's still that bit of challenge, but they're quite doable. And they don't take a lot of willpower. They don't have that enormous effort to it that it takes to change your habits to reach, for example, those mid-level goals. But they all feed into the mid-level goals, which then in turn feed into the top level goal. So for example, that could be going to sleep early enough that you get 7 hours of sleep and get enough recovery time. So you're not tired in the morning and you can get up early to go for a run. Or it can be, I don't know, reading a book about running. Doesn't take a lot of commitment. You still gotta sit down and do it. You still gotta open the book and actually read it, but it's not super hard to do. Or watch a YouTube tutorial about running. That's even easier to do. But it is a low-level goal that feeds into a mid-level goal, which then feeds into the top-level goal. So suddenly you have a lot of goals. They're all pointing towards a major goal that you have. And if you look at them, they're all aligned. They all make sense when you look at them through the lens of the top level goal. So, if we do that drawing again that we had before, it will look completely different than it did before. Suddenly, we have one major top level goal that we are aligning all of our efforts, all of our time, all of our energy towards. So suddenly we have this one major goal. Again, you can't really see the top of it, but this is a major arrow. And then we have different other goals, some of them small, some of them a little bit bigger, but all of these goals and all of the habits that come with it are all aligned, they're all pointing into the same direction, and they all make you progress into a direction that gets you closer to reaching your goal. So, what do I try to teach you by that or tell you by that? Well, in my opinion, and what I have found for my own life to be true, is that it is very crucial to know what your top level goals are. I know it can be easy to kind of divert from them every now and then, and I think that's just human. Nobody's perfect. You still can go out with your buddies and have a beer every once in a while, even though it might get you a little further away from reaching your goal of running a marathon in 3 hours. But it is very crucial to at least know what your top level goals are, and if you do that, you can really use it as a lens that you see the world through and that you see your own habits and actions through. So if you know your top level goals, really look at yourself and what you do on a daily basis and ask yourself, how does that help me to get to that goal faster? How does that really help me to accomplish what I promised myself to accomplish? And you know, if it doesn't, maybe you have to look at that habit and cut it out. Really take a look at the things that you do regularly and think about whether or not it makes sense to do those things. I did that recently for my own life, and I gotta say there was a lot of junk in my life that I realized just by looking through that lens of what my top level goals are. So if I want to build, for example, this YouTube challenge, I noticed it doesn't make sense for me to party on the weekends as hard as I used to, go out until 5 a.m. and then sleep until noon the next day, have my voice all fucked up, be kind of tired, be a little bit hungover. It just doesn't make sense. I still enjoy it. It's a lot of fun sometimes to go out like that, but it's not part of my top level goal. It doesn't really align with my top level goal, and therefore I cut it out. It's as easy as that. I mean, you really got to ask yourself what you want to make out of your life and with the time that you have on this planet. And for me, for example, the habit of partying excessively just doesn't align with my top level goals anymore. So that's why I cut it out, and it was a huge relief. I was vastly more productive afterwards, and furthermore, it was very easy to do because I knew exactly why I'm giving up that habit. It's not like, oh, this is a bad habit, I need to cut it out because it makes me feel self-conscious, or I shouldn't be doing that, I know that other people will judge it or whatnot, like you might have like the kind of feeling you might have with smoking or overeating or not exercising or not reading books or whatever. However, that's not a strong enough incentive to really let go of these kinds of very hard to drop habits. If you really want to drop a habit like that, you need to know exactly why you're doing it and what you're doing it for. So find a top level goal that you can really completely resonate with, that makes complete sense to you and that you're super driven and passionate about. And then think about that habit that you want to give up and think about how it helps and contributes to reaching that top level goal. If it doesn't, I can assure you, it will be a lot easier for you to give it up and just leave it behind, never looking back. So, with that said, I really hope that this was helpful for you. I'm actually going to put up a link to a blog post that I wrote on this topic as well. It also references a book by Angela Duckworth. It's called Grit. And this is where I got part of my inspiration from for this little exercise that I did of top level goals, mid-level goals, and low-level goals. So check out that book, check out that blog post that I wrote about it. The link is gonna pop up right here. Besides that, thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, leave them down below. I'm gonna be answering them. If you have any feedback, please drop it down below as well. It's always welcome. And besides that, thank you so much for watching. Talk to you next time.